All
right, we call the May 6th Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Invite everybody to please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. First up, public comment.
Humphrey Williams. Yeah, I have a phone call from a concerned citizen, and I wanted to ask the question, have you guys look into the cost of the ferry house at the beach? There was questions. As a matter of fact, one of the comments was they heard it was $7,000. I says, only thing I could tell them was that I thought a lot of it was donations and voluntary, but if you guys could look into it, put the information out, it was just to try to address that cost. So, it's the only thing I have.
Yep, yeah. Aaron, maybe would you mind doing that for the next selectmen meeting, since you're on the, cool.
I have an idea, but I'm
Yeah,
not sure
might as well
if
wait
it's-
till we get all
until
the,
it's accurate.
yeah.
I can tell you it wasn't. I just
Yeah.
threw the question out, I'm sorry, I was a little late.
Can I ask a question? That's a ferry building.
It's in reference to the tree that's been cut down at the town beach.
Okay, I just got an
That's
answer.
being turned into a ferry house.
So the answer is $1,600. And half came out of the beach revenue, half came out of another fund in Milton. So $1,600, not $7,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, is there any more public comment? I'm not seeing any. I'll close public comment. New business. First up, introduction of town administrator. So I would like to invite Ernie Krivlin to come up. Ernie is going to be our new town administrator effective May 15th. He has served as a community development director of the town of Raymond since 2006. Prior to that, he served as the town administrator of Farmington from 1998 to 2005, and as a community development director in Sanford in the past. He has also served as building official and city inspector in the past. He brings substantial experience in the community and economic development issues that can bring to bear on the issues and opportunities facing the town of Milton. So I'd like to welcome Murray.
Thank you. Look forward to it. Thank you very much for trusting me, and I can't wait to get started.
Looking forward to working with you. And
Same here.
please, everybody, welcome Ernie. So, any other comments from the board? Or?
Welcome. We've had an opportunity to talk a few times, so we all know that now that warm weather's here, he just can't wait to get out, so he wants to ride his bike. And we'll miss him. He's done an
Yes.
excellent job
Thank you.
while he's been here. I think will be a nice, smooth transition turnover with Ernie. So,
I'd like to thank David for all of his help along the way here as well. Thank you, sir.
Sure, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. You've done a great job keeping
Oh.
things afloat and everything moving. It's
Well,
greatly
I've
appreciated.
enjoyed it. It's been, I think we got a couple things done while I was there. So I'm glad to have had a part in that, and I think you've got somebody very good to lined up that can work with you on some of the issues that you have here in the community. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right, we have a 6:15 public hearing. It's not quite 6:15 yet, so I will move on to hiring of assistant town clerk and tax collector.
Okay, your town clerk and I are recommending the appointment of Chris Morris Turner as Assistant Town Clerk, Tax Collector at $14 an hour, subject to the results of a criminal background check, which are in process. We interviewed 4 candidates, and this particular candidate has loads of experience in titling vehicles, and has worked in this area before. And of course, the clerk's office is a large part of their work is in vehicle registration and such. So it seemed like a natural, and as someone who lives just down the street and could actually walk to the offices here if need be.
It'll be good for snowstorms. You can just slide right in.
Right. So we have a proposed motion that we'd like for you to consider.
I'll motion to conditionally approve and sign the appointment for Chris Morris Turner as Assistant Town Clerk Tax Collector at $14 an hour, subject to those results of the criminal background investigation.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next up, hiring a land use clerk. Oh, you want to?
It can go in at either. I just want to, I've had a couple phone calls because people saw the agenda and saw that we were hiring. And they're like, how can you be hiring when we're in a default budget? These are positions that were filled, and unfortunately, people have moved on. We've needed to fill these slots. That is why we're hiring or able to hire during the default. So I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's a great point for clarification. So, land use clerk?
Yes, we convened sort of a screening committee to review the applications for the land use clerk position. As you know, this position's been vacant a few weeks now, and it's a very key position in the scheme of things here, and it's sort of critically important to get it filled as soon as possible. The screening committee consisted of Bruce Woodruff and myself, Kathy from the assessing office, and who's the fourth person?
Brian.
Brian. Brian Boyers, the building inspector, having senior moment. Thank you. So we invited 5 of the 8 applicants to come and interview with us, and we interviewed the 4 that showed up. 1 was a no-show, and after interviewing each candidate, each member of the screening panel rated the candidates individually, and then we discussed them, our ratings as a group, and came up with a group rating for the candidate. And at the end of the process, we had 2 candidates that were very closely matched. I mean, they were both highly rated candidates, but after discussion, we decided to recommend the appointment of Ashley Fortier as the new land use clerk. Again, she's a Milton Mills resident, and this would be at a rate of $18 an hour, subject to the results of the criminal background check. Bruce, I don't know if you got any input on that.
No, you nailed it.
Okay.
Right, any discussion from the board?
No, it's
No.
it's a position that needs to be filled sooner than later, so I'm glad that we're able to fill it.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign the appointment of Ashley Fortier of Milton Mills as the new land use clerk at the hourly rate of $18 an hour.
I'll second it.
Subject to results of criminal background check.
Oh, Subject. Thank you.
And we get a second on that?
Yep.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. So it's 6:10. We have a 6:15 public hearing. 5 minutes probably is not enough, correct, Bruce? For the,
I'll try real hard.
We could move to the, why don't you want to go to the town clerk's proclamation? We could do that.
sure, that's a good idea. Maybe we'll bounce around to the town clerk week, since that one will be quicker. So item number 7 on the agenda. Municipal Clerks Week proclamation.
Item 6. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I couldn't locate it for a moment. So,
He's so anxious.
That's why his mind's on the bike already.
yeah. So the town clerk brought this forward, and she's asking the Board of Selectmen to proclaim this week as Municipal Clerks Week in Milton. And I can read it if you wish.
I don't think we need to read it, the whole thing out. Basically, it's just recognizing everything that the town clerks do and have done for 50 years.
Well, longer than 50 years.
Well-
Municipal clerks have been keeping the records of the towns ever since they were created.
That's true, I guess 50-year anniversary of
Of the municipal
municipal
clerk
week.
week.
Okay.
Thank you.
We don't get a day, we get a whole week.
Week. So,
Administrative assistants only get a day.
We get a day. And that was already come and gone. Thanks.
That's true.
discussion from the board?
No, I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I mean, it's a lot of hard work in there, and I think that, you know, all municipal clerks deserve a week of praise if that's what this is about, and I'm on board, so.
All right.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve and sign the proclamation recognizing the week of May 5th through 11th, 2019 to be Municipal Clerks Week.
I'll second it.
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. Your signature.
And it's by the time you sign, you'll be 60.
Perfect timing.
I'm laughing because she put, not only did she put little arrows where we're to sign, she's also put little arrows with our names on them for us to also. We must be pitiful, huh?
All right, so
So we're going back to
we are going
the public hearing.
back to the public hearing of acquisition and possible disposition of land parcel tax map 17 lot 5.
Okay, the board will recall that a couple of months ago, we were discussing some parcels of land that had been gifted to the town, and it turned out that the town had never, the board had voted to accept them, but the town never went through the legal procedure that's laid out under RSA 4114A to legally accept the parcels. And in the case of this particular parcel, it was donated to the town a few years ago. And if the town ever wishes to convey title in it, you need to be able to show that it was legally accepted by the town. So this is just a one of the 2 required public hearings, and if anyone has any comment or questions about it, the board can entertain that during the public hearing. And then all the board needs to do is to continue this public hearing to your next meeting on May 20th, when there'll be a second public hearing. And then 2 weeks after that, there should be scheduled the actual vote to accept the parcel pursuant to the requirements of 4114A.
All right, and I'll just add to that, the planning board has given the board a recommendation
They have.
to basically use the parcel for permanent conservation purposes.
That's correct.
So that being said, I will open up the public hearing to the public for any public comment. I'm not seeing any public comment or public discussion, I should say. So I will close the public hearing. I will bring it back to the board. Any further comments from the board?
Nope, good.
Dave?
I think the board just needs to vote to continue the public hearing to your next meeting and conduct a second public hearing as required by the statute, and then schedule the vote.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to continue the hearing until May 20th
I'll-
at the next BOS meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
Mhm.
Okay, so now we will go to exit 17, economic revitalization, I can't say that. Zone. Bruce.
I did want to take just a moment to publicly thank Dave Owen for all the assistance he's given me, especially in the areas of his leadership, his preparation, and his follow-through. And I think that all of the members of the Board of Selectmen have seen that follow-through that we might not have seen in the past. So thank you, Dave.
Oh, you're very welcome.
The reason I'm here is to give you an update on the economic revitalization zone that the Economic Development Committee commissioned Aaron and myself and Les Elder and even Dana Crossley to work up an application to formally have the many of the lots that border Route 75 and Exit 17 on the Spalding Turnpike into an economic revitalization zone. What that does, as you probably know, is that it offers short-term business tax credits for projects and businesses, and that's a great thing in designated areas of the municipality. You know, we currently have one in the village downtown here in Milton, and this would be the second one that we did. We prepared that in the summer of 2018. It went to the Division of Economic Development up at the state, and they had some questions, and I met with Bridget. I believe it was either late August or early September of last year, and she said that, number one, we could not have any residentially zoned lots as part of the ERZ proposal, and then secondly, as you know, we had a 53-acre lot that went to the voters in March this year that we changed from low-density residential to industrial commercial, and that passed. The voters voted that in. And so we waited to revise and finalize that application. So that's been done. And they're very happy with it. And we also added a lot, and that was one of the lots that went up for auction this past weekend, and that was map 47, lot 21-1. That's I'm sorry, 27-1. And that's about an 11-acre piece. It's very close to the sewer plant. It has the ability for some utilities, including some water, and that is zone commercial. So the bottom line is that that made sense to add that, and as you can see from your map that was prepared that went as part of the application, that map now excludes areas in split zone lots that are zoned residential. And the spreadsheet that you also have shows that the total area of all those lots is 394 acres, but the total area proposed for the economic revitalization zone is only 322 acres. That's at the bottom of the spreadsheet in bold. So this spreadsheet was deemed very good by Bridget Moynihan at the Division of Economic Development. We expect that to be approved. Now, on the other side of the coin, the state, this ERZ funding is going to dry up at the end of the year, but they're confident that it will go through the legislature and be extended and funded. And I wanted to know if you had any questions on that at all. Two real quick things that have nothing to do with that, so let's shift gears. Number one, there is an opportunity for a build grant. And really all I wanted the board to tell me was whether or not it was all right for me to start putting together a grant application for what's now called Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development Grants. They take the place of the old Tiger grants, and basically one project that is begging for funding is the Dawson Silver sidewalk, stormwater, and parking lot project that Pat has presented to you earlier. I'm not asking for you to sign on to that, but just to allow me to put the grant in and see where it goes. And then finally, today I received, and I believe Ryan did too, a draft municipal agreement for the Townhouse Pond Bridge. And that agreement is a little bit different from the draft that they gave me a couple of months ago when I went to DOT. I wanted to know if you could give me the go-ahead to take this municipal agreement to the town attorney, just to make sure it's right, and then possibly schedule a workshop to go over all of the different things that the state wants the town to do. That's it.
Yeah, I think that bring it to the town attorney and we'll go from there. I would be on board with that. I don't know, the rest of the board on board with that?
I'm fine
Definitely.
with that.
And I'm definitely on board with you moving forward with any grants.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask you one question? Have we paid dues for Stratford County Regional Commission yet, or are we still on the?
Well, I think that, Dave could answer this question. I'll take a stab. First of all, we're in the default budget, and
Right.
it was not an expense that was paid for last year.
Okay, so
this-
it didn't.
We'd have to wait at least a year.
Okay.
And then, I believe that there is a positive to becoming a member of Stratford Regional Planning again, as long as you keep paying me. That's a joke. But the bottom line is that there are many things that they can do, from traffic counts to helping with grant applications, that they would charge us a consultant fee to do, rather than to do it as free as part of being a member and part of being the benefits of a member.
And I'm not sure if you can answer this question or not. If I'm not mistaken, I saw something that said the dues were approximately $5,700 a year.
Yes.
Yes.
And they've done over $17,000 worth of work the last couple of years for us.
That's what they said,
Have
yes.
said, okay.
I would, if I may, like to chime in, and I also feel that $5,500 for the technical assistance services that the Stratford County Regional Planning Commission can provide to Milton is a pretty good deal. When we got into that, the park, the landfill, what's it called again? The Lockhart Field, thank you. The Lockhart Field issue, you're basically dealing with Brownsfield issues there. And Stratford County Regional Planning Commission has staff with expertise at Brownsfields. And they came and assisted one meeting in trying to understand what needed to be done. But you have other properties in town also that fall into that category and are, you know, potential redevelopment areas if you can get the Brownsfield issues dealt with. So I think it's a good investment. I would encourage you to put it in the budget for next year.
Definitely.
Just my 2 cents worth, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce. All right, next up, Bowling Road paving discussion. Bob?
Want me to read this for the benefit of everybody?
Sure, if you don't mind.
Okay. To see if the Board of Selectmen will vote to approve over a period of 4 years the incremental paving of the Class 5 portion of Bowling Road commencing at New Hampshire Route 125 entrance and continuing for approximately 1 3/10 miles. That's the end of the 1 3/10 is the end of the Class 5. Okay. Each increment consisting of about 1,500 feet. Estimated cost for each estimate would be about $130,000. That's due to, prior to the paving, the necessity to remove the underlying soft soils. Okay. There's a lot of, it was just stones over topsoil kind of stuff, so that's one of the reasons we had the problem. And so that they would have to dig up what's there, put in new aggregate to build it up of various sizes. And the condition of the road during spring thaw and heavy rains is such that it constitutes a safety hazard. Emergency vehicles would have difficulty accessing homes in. What did I do? I missed this, right? Yeah. No. Accessing homes in extreme conditions, and because they would have to detour around Northeast Farm Road to come into Bowling Road the other way, and that would be excessive delays. Right? And a couple of years ago, my wife's car, we tore the pan right out of the bottom of the engine. You know, the plastic pan just tore it right out because of the ruts and stuff that were there. And I know, like 5 or 6 years ago, it was so bad that cars were sinking in and getting stuck, you know, and having to get towed out. So that, and it's mainly that area from 125 for the first 1,500 feet that is pretty bad. And, talking to Pat Smith, part of the problem is being able to direct the water from the runoff. So, do you have any questions?
Have you sat down and talked with Pat Smith?
Yeah,
to
that's
see-
where I got all this information.
Okay,
Yeah,
so does he have on his, I know he has like a paving schedule.
yeah.
Is this, did
In
he,
the current paving schedule, no.
I talked to Pat Smith about this. He said that, well, first of all, this is sort of in the form of a warrant article, and it, you know, the selectmen don't approve warrant articles. Well, you approve putting them on the warrant, but it's the voters of the town that have to vote to appropriate the money for things like this. So this is something that would go on the town warrant if that's the gentleman's wish. Pat said that if his recommendation would be that if it goes on the town warrant, that it would be in addition to his normal paving program, or else, you know, this would take up the majority of the town paving program for a few years just to get this road done at the level of funding that this gentleman is requesting here.
So Bob,
Okay, so what you're saying, we have to put in a petition for the warrant article?
is that what you were asking?
Well, no, I was asking for you guys to approve it, but.
Well, the selectmen can't approve funding for, the voters have to approve the funding. The selectmen vote to put the warrant article on the town warrant, but,
Okay, all right. well,
but
that'll be fine.
that's not till next winter.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Well, who misinformed us?
Pardon?
Who misinformed us to come to you?
Well, I don't know who informed you.
No, we're coming, I probably a misunderstanding on my part. So what you're saying is the selectmen could put this in as a warrant article
If they so choose.
if they so choose, and if they don't choose, then we would have to do a
You can
petition
petition.
and get, what, 25 signatures?
Correct.
Correct.
Right,
Mhm.
okay. Then amend that to say that.
Is that what you were asking though,
Yeah.
Bob? Okay, because it sounds like you might have been a little bit confused.
Yeah, I
That's
was.
fine.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
First time doing it.
right.
I have no problem with putting it on for a warrant for next year. I mean, do you? I see no reason, and we
No, I
haven't.
mean, let the people,
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I said it incrementally, because it would be cheaper to do it over you know, each year as
Yeah.
opposed to one big chunk of money.
Right. Bruce had his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody that there is a process for the capital improvement program, recommendation report that you get every year. This is a perfect example of a project that really needs to go into the capital improvement program as a submission. I would recommend that Pat do that as part of his highway program, but as a separate project as he recommended.
So we as the board can ask Pat to do that. Unfortunately, Pat's not here tonight.
What's his current expense right now fixing that road? Because he's in there all the time. The amount of aggregate they bring in there and the amount of grading they have to do on that road is pitiful.
Yeah, I don't,
It's already a
huge expense.
Yeah.
I don't know what that, we don't know what that is off the top of
Well,
our
when
heads,
I-
but we
when I talked to him
can get
about
that
this-
from him.
About this,
It should be like eating.
he mentioned that he had already put in $6,000 worth of stone. Not to mention the time of the guys doing the job,
Yep.
and constantly regrading it and raking it.
And whatnot, and they do it several times, and it seems to me the money that they're spending doing that, they could be putting it to paving it, and once it's paved, it's done, and they won't have to be spending money on it constantly every year. I mean, I lived here for almost 20 years, and at least 3 times a year, at least they're rolling the road. And more than that.
3 times just in the spring.
Right, you know,
Not to mention once the rain comes and it starts putting the.
how many times could they
Vibrating
have
all the way
paved
down the
it
road.
in all those years? You know, it just seems like they've wasted money.
Yeah, I've already got 30 signatures easy for petitioning, but it's more the property values. We pay a lot of taxes on that road. And the safety issue, because when it's muddy and wet, you slide and the trees are right up.
Yeah.
Gary hit one tree and had
Yeah.
quite a bit of damage.
I'm Jen Sherman, I've been there 20 years in June, so they can't always come around and go down by the lake. You can't get through because of the mud. The ambulances or whatever, the safety vehicles cannot make it down that road, they slide off.
If they can't make it back.
And they can't make it around, so that really leaves us with no access at all
Mhm.
for emergency vehicles, for fire, for ambulance, it leaves us with nothing.
Fire truck or nothing.
No,
Is that on the class, pardon me, is that on the class 5 portion of the road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my car is so close to the ground that I can't get through, and like Nancy and Bob, the cover that was underneath my car came off, the skirting in the front of it has come off because, you know, you're talking literally a foot of mud, a foot, to try to get my car to go through. That just is almost impossible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
I think the board agrees that we need to look at this, and unfortunately, there's not, I mean, that's a significant amount of money. It's not something that we can do
Right.
this year. It's gonna have to go to the voters. There's a whole process it should go through. So this is definitely the start, and I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen requests the Public Works Director, Pat Smith, to start a new CIP project specifically for Bolin Road and to address the concerns brought up here tonight.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I wanted to clarify one thing about that, what she was saying, is that if they can't get down from 125 to us, an emergency vehicle, they'd have to use Townhouse Road,
No,
No.
Northeast Pond.
Northeast Pond.
Pond.
Now, Northeast Pond is great, they can come down, but when they get down near the lake,
Right.
it's so narrow, they can't get through.
The
They
road's
get-
Can't
closed
get
during-
through. It's closed during the
Yeah,
winter,
next,
so
so
there
it
is no
still gets
access.
snow because
Yeah.
it's very shaded, but then when they get through there, it's too tight for any emergency vehicle.
And where do we get the amount that it costs to maintain Bolin Road? Could you tell us that?
Pat?
Pat has that. Pat can get that for us.
Can you give
We,
us
I mean, we don't have
dollar
that.
amount?
Yep.
Okay, because one meeting I was at here 2 years ago, I was told it's never gonna happen,
What would never happen?
that road getting entirely fixed.
Again, we.
Well, it's a very
the-
expensive thing.
Right,
yeah.
the board has agreed to put this in the CIP and move forward with it, but at the end of the day, it goes out to the voters, so. It's the voters will decide. You have to get the
Okay,
voters
petition.
to,
Right, well,
So do I need to get the signatures or?
Nope.
You
No.
We're
you
gonna,
guys can handle it?
yep.
No,
So
no,
if
no,
you
I don't
follow
trust
it-
that.
Yeah, I know these guys. That's what-
So I just want to make sure everybody understands, and Bruce, please chime in if I'm off here. But so the CIP process goes through the planning board first, and then the planning board will make their recommendation. Bob knows because he's on there. The planning board will make their recommendations to the Board of Selectmen, and then the Board of Selectmen will make their decision from there. So,
Last
Maureen
question.
had her hand up.
hold on, somebody had their hand up in the back
I
first.
just wanted also to Maureen Steer, Bolin Road resident as well. Just wanted to maybe just put this out there as a point of clarification that I've been told by multiple people that there's some kind of lawsuit involving the unoccupied house at the end of Bolin Road. So that may be a place we have to start to clarify what the issue is. There's, obviously, it's not like a public thing, so I don't really know if it's been adjudicated or if it's still pending. But it's something that we probably should clarify, something to do with a well and
Yeah.
125.
They keep knocking the well open when they grade.
Yeah,
And
there's
a
a-
home with no running water and a resident, a
It's
non-resident
abandoned.
that comes
It's
up
abandoned.
twice a year to walk around the yard shouldn't hold up the people that live there year-round from getting a paper road.
Yeah, there's a wellhead in the middle of the road.
Which I've had to have, when I bought a house on Appleby Road, we had to have the well moved. And it was an expense, but you move the well and you move on.
Sure.
So that would be probably a good starting place before we think of, okay, how are we gonna do the paving? We need to clarify the legal aspects first to be able to move through it.
It's pretty much been abandoned for at least a year.
Yeah, the windows are boarded up. and-
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's,
It's the property where the barn fell down that we had to clean up.
I can add to that. A woman died, and I just found out recently that the owner died. But the well thing, I'm pretty sure the town did get sued over that, and that, they even offered to put a new well in.
that's all stuff that we're gonna
15,
have
20 years ago.
to look into and figure out. So this is the first, this is the start of, to get something rolling. And just so everybody understands, nothing stops anybody from doing a petition warrant article. So if you guys are not pleased with how the CIP process goes, how the planning board and Board of Selectmen are come to a conclusion at the end of the year, you are more than welcome to still write your own warrant article and put it in as a petition warrant article. So,
Thank you, Ryan, for clearing
All right?
But in closing though, you know, Aaron and myself are on board of putting on a warrant article. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and I don't, but, so.
Right, thank you. Next up, New Beginnings Food Pantry.
So the first thing is, our name is actually Revolution Food Pantry. The reason that's on there is because we're in the process of changing our names.
Okay.
So New Beginnings is one of the names somebody picked, so. So anyways, we just located in here, in Milton in February, and we opened up February 4th. And currently, we're serving 50 residents from Milton. And we're very grateful to be here. We actually had no place to go, and we had 3 days left to vacate the last location. And the third day, well, 3 days before, we got a phone call, and someone told me to call Restoration Church, and I did. And they gave us a space in the basement of the Milton Assembly. So that's where we are now. We're not part of any church. We have our own 501c3. We currently serve 852 plus families because we serve Stratford County. So it's not just Milton, it's everywhere. And we're open 2 days a week. We're open on Mondays 9:30 to 11:30, and Thursdays is 4:30 to 6:30. So we serve everyone. We don't qualify people. If they need food, we consider that qualified. We don't do receipts. We don't go by their income. We serve homeless people. Some homeless people can't get food from other pantries because they don't have an address. It's kind of hard to have an address if you're homeless, so. But anyways, we do serve everybody. Everybody's welcome. We allow them to come twice a month. They all have my cell phone number, so if they have an emergency in between that time, they can call me and we'll give them food. So we basically don't turn anybody away. We get our money to purchase food by donations. We don't have any kind of income that comes in other than donations. So like we do have an online giving program. We're trying to get 100 people to do $10 a month. And that $10 a month, if we had 100 people doing that, that would give us $1,000 a month, which would pay for our rent, for our insurances. We have insurances on our program, plus we have insurance for our van that we just actually got that. And we have to pay insurance for that. Plus we purchase food every week. So in your packets, it tells you exactly what we spend weekly. We spend between $125 and $150 a week. And that's because we go to the New Hampshire Food Bank. So like $125 would give us probably 1,500 pounds of food. So it's really a good deal. The only problem is we can't get everything at the food bank. So like there's times, a couple weeks ago, we had to go and buy 90 dozen worth of eggs. When eggs went on sale at Market Basket, we go purchase them there. Sometimes we go to the Dollar Tree and get shampoos and things that we can't get from the food bank. So that's what we do. We do. I send letters out once or twice a year asking for money. I kind of call it professional whining because it actually, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. We can apply for grants, but right now there isn't any grants for food pantries. And I think the reason is because there's so many, and you have to prove what are you different, how are you different from other food pantries. So one of the ways that we're different is we don't just give them food, we try to help them to become productive citizens. We offer them chances to volunteer, which our board that we have, 4 of our members on the board were clients before. And because of their skills that we saw that they had, we had them volunteer and they became board members. And a lot of our volunteers are made up of past clients as well. We offer classes, we do budgeting classes, we do nutrition classes. Currently we're having a cooking class every Monday while we're open. And UNH Cooperative Extension comes in and they do a little segment of nutrition things, and then they cook. They get to actually prep it, cook it, eat it, and take home the ingredients. So it's a really good deal. And then we have what's called Cooking Matters. That is actually for families, so that they bring their children in and they get to do the same thing. They prep it, they eat it, so they have a free meal that night, and they take home all the ingredients with the recipe. And then at the end of 6 weeks, they get little chef hats and little diplomas. And so we do things like that. So we try to offer them more than just giving them food. We do counseling, trying to think of everything. It's all in your packets anyways, but one of the things that we do is we try to help people that are going through recovery. We're partnered with, I think it's 23 partnerships now.
One of them is Celebrate Recovery. That's from the New Beginnings Church in Sanford. And they help us a lot with that. And we're also partnered with SOS and Granite Recovery and Goodwin Health. There's all kinds of them in there. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else? On the second page, it shows you how many meals we serve within a year. Gives you a little better understanding. So when we give them food, we actually try to give them, we would love to give them a month's worth of food, but we can't always do that. So we try to give them at least 2 weeks of food plus staple items, like they get plenty of rice and pasta and things that they could make extra meals. And we don't have a full use of a kitchen, so what I do on Thursdays is I make something in a crock pot or a big roaster that I have. I usually make soup or whatever, baked beans, and I use the things that we give them. So like I might take dried beans and make baked beans and hot dogs, so they can see how to make it. They get the recipe, plus they get to eat. So we try to combine everything. I don't know if you guys have any questions.
Do you have an extra packet?
What?
Do you have an extra packet?
Yeah.
I just gave the extra packet to someone behind me.
Well, we can.
I think it might be a little useful that I have.
Yeah, and I can drop off flyers too. I can give you
I can
flyers
make a
of our
copy.
times and stuff.
I have a question.
Sure.
Did you say, or did
Oh,
I
so
misunderstand, that you don't vet these people at all?
What we do is they have a little application to fill out, but we don't go by their income whatsoever. That's, as far as we're concerned, that's none of our business, honestly. If they say they need food, we give them food. And we don't judge them, there's no judging whatsoever.
I just want to know for sure.
Okay.
So I could
I
bring
think this
food
is-
down to your pantry?
Yep, we take donations, we take food, we take clothing, household items. Money? Money's always good. Yeah. Anybody else have a question?
Oh, I think this is great for the community, great asset for Milton, huge
We're
asset for
very
Milton.
excited to be here. Yeah.
Glad you guys are here
Thank you.
and
Mhm.
welcome you.
We've signed a lease until November, so we don't know where we stand after that. So we're seriously praying and hoping for our own space. We really need our own building because they're gonna be making changes in the church, and I'm not sure if we're gonna use that big space that we use downstairs. I don't know if we're gonna be able to or not. So we have almost a year to figure this out.
All right. Any
So if you know
additional?
any buildings that's empty, that, we do pay rent, we don't pay a lot, but we pay what we can afford, so.
Any additional comments from the board?
Awesome, thank you.
No, welcome.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I just want to thank you folks, and you're putting your footprint in Milton, and we used to have a food pantry here years ago. It was next to the fire station. Some of the older residents in here that lived here for a while, you remembered it. So hopefully, we can retain you.